Jesus spoke more about money than almost any other topic, not because he was interested in wealth, but because he understood its power over the human heart. Today, we're going deeper. Here are 9 financial principles Jesus taught that modern Christians often ignore, expanded with the depth and detail necessary to transform your financial life and your spiritual life. Lesson 1. Jesus taught that faithfulness with little creates faithfulness with much. Jesus' words in Luke 16:10 are direct and unavoidable. Whoever is faithful with little will also be faithful with much. Most people ask God for more income, more opportunities, more financial freedom. But Jesus turned the entire concept upside down. He teaches that God evaluates how you manage what you already have before he increases what you receive. Faithfulness with little means managing $500 the same way you'd manage $5,000. Tracking your spending even if your income is small. Treating small blessings with the same respect as big blessings. Refusing laziness and carelessness with basic responsibilities. Jesus wasn't promising wealth. He was revealing a spiritual law. God promotes people based on stewardship, not desire. Many Christians say, once I earn more, I'll be more disciplined. Jesus says the opposite. If you can't handle the little you have, the more will only magnify your chaos. Faithfulness builds habits. Habits build character. Character determines how much God can trust you with. Your financial increase is not blocked by lack of income. It's often blocked by lack of stewardship. Lesson 2. Jesus warned that worry about money destroys peace. In Matthew 6, Jesus repeatedly commands, do not worry. He wasn't being poetic. He was identifying one of the greatest enemies of Christian growth, financial anxiety. Worry is expensive. It drains energy, destroys clarity, and damages trust in God. When fear dominates your financial decisions, you overspend to comfort yourself. You undergive because you fear the future. You avoid wise investments because you fear loss. You chase quick fixes that trap you later. Jesus wasn't telling people to be careless. He was teaching them to stop living as if the future depends on their stress level. He gave 3 reasons why worry is useless. 1. Worry doesn't change anything. It burns effort without producing solutions. 2. Worry reveals misplaced trust. You depend on money instead of God. 3. Worry shrinks your ability to hear God. Fear blocks wisdom. Jesus' financial command is simple. Deal with your responsibilities, but don't let fear handle you. A believer who worries constantly has already surrendered to Mammon emotionally. Peace is not a luxury for Christians, it is a commandment, and peace begins with trusting God more than your bank balance. Lesson 3. Jesus said your heart follows your money. In Matthew 6:21, Jesus gives a psychological truth long before psychology existed. Where your treasure is, there your heart will follow. Jesus teaches that your heart is not the leader of your finances. Your money is the leader, your heart is the follower. This means, if you invest in your spiritual life, you care more about God. If you invest only in pleasures, your heart stays shallow. If you invest in others, your heart becomes compassionate. If all your spending centers on yourself, your heart becomes self-centered. Jesus understood human behavior. What you repeatedly spend on becomes what you eventually love. This is why generosity is not about money, it is about spiritual direction. When you give, your heart learns humility. When you save wisely, your heart learns discipline. When you invest intentionally, your heart learns responsibility. But when you hoard, your heart learns fear. And when you waste, your heart learns carelessness. Your money trains your soul every day, even when you don't notice. Jesus wasn't talking about accounting, he was talking about spiritual formation. Lesson 4. Jesus taught that counting the cost is a requirement, not an option. In Luke 14:28, Jesus uses a financial example. Who builds a tower without first calculating the cost? Jesus did not separate spirituality from planning, he fused them together. To him, planning is not a sign of doubt, planning is a sign of wisdom. Counting the cost means, know what you're committing to, understand the long-term consequences, refuse impulsive decisions, prepare for challenges before they appear. Jesus condemned blind enthusiasm without strategy. He warned that starting something without preparation leads to embarrassment, loss, and unnecessary pressure. Many Christians think faith means jump without looking, but Jesus taught the opposite. Faith evaluates, faith prepares, faith plans. Every financially wise believer creates a budget, understands their expenses, plans before purchasing, evaluates before investing. Jesus wasn't teaching financial theory. He was teaching responsibility as a spiritual virtue. Lesson 5. Jesus exposed the danger of serving money instead of God. In Matthew 6:24, Jesus issues a warning sharper than any sermon. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and Mammon. Mammon represents wealth with power, wealth that becomes an idol, not money itself, but money that demands worship. How do you know Mammon is influencing you? You make decisions based on money, not morals. You panic when finances change. You compromise values for profit. You feel secure only when your bank account is full. You treat money as your source, not your tool. Jesus didn't say it's hard to serve two masters. He said it's impossible. Because money is a subtle master. It doesn't demand worship openly. It slowly replaces God in your priorities. Jesus' warning is not about poverty. It's about loyalty. You can have wealth and still serve God, but you cannot serve wealth and still serve God. Your heart has one throne. Only one occupant can sit on it. Lesson 6. Jesus praised wise investing, not passive saving. In the parable of the talents, Matthew 25, Jesus praises the servants who multiply their resources and harshly rebukes the servant who buried his money out of fear. This parable reveals three important financial truths. 1. God expects growth, not stagnation. The servants who multiplied their resources were celebrated. The fearful servant was called wicked and lazy. 2. Fear is not an excuse. Jesus didn't accept, "I was scared of losing money." He expected courage, responsibility, and initiative. 3. Risk is part of stewardship. Jesus acknowledged that multiplying resources requires action and sometimes risk. Saving is wise and biblical, but Jesus warns that burying resources out of fear is disobedience. Modern Christians often avoid investing, avoid learning, avoid opportunities, avoid long-term thinking, not because it's unwise, but because they're afraid. Jesus challenges that mindset. He expects us to grow our skills, grow our opportunities, grow our resources, grow our impact. Multiplication is not greed, it is stewardship. Lesson 7. Jesus taught that generosity reveals your true spiritual health. Jesus watched people give in the temple, not to judge amounts, but to judge hearts. He praised the widow who gave a tiny amount because her heart was surrendered. He ignored the wealthy who gave large amounts without sacrifice. Jesus taught that generosity reveals your humility, your trust in God, your priorities, your spiritual maturity, your freedom from greed. Money reveals who you are. Giving reveals who you're becoming. Generosity is a declaration of trust, a weapon against selfishness, a reminder that everything belongs to God, a way to bless others and expand the kingdom. Jesus never measured generosity by dollar amount. He measured it by the cost to your heart. True generosity is not about losing money. It's about losing pride, fear, and selfishness. Lesson 8. Jesus taught that motives matter more than money. In Matthew 6, Jesus exposes a truth many believers forget. You can do the right thing with the wrong heart. Giving with pride is not generosity. Saving with fear is not stewardship. Working with greed is not diligence. Investing with selfish ambition is not wisdom. Jesus saw beyond actions and straight into intentions. He taught that God cares about why you give, why you save, why you work, why you invest, why you spend. Two Christians can make the same financial choice, buy the same house, invest the same amount, give the same offering, but God values one and rejects the other based on motive. Jesus emphasized heart first, actions second, always. Your financial decisions are spiritual decisions, and God judges both. Lesson 9. Jesus promised that seeking God first transforms your entire financial life. Matthew 6:33 is one of Jesus' most powerful financial promises. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. Jesus wasn't promising luxury, he was promising alignment. When God is first, your decisions become wiser, your emotions become calmer, your priorities become clearer, your temptations lose power, your financial life becomes balanced. Putting God first doesn't magically solve money problems. It changes how you approach money, which eventually changes everything else. Seeking the kingdom first means your values shape your spending, your faith shapes your planning, your generosity shapes your priorities, your obedience shapes your opportunities. Jesus teaches that prosperity without God leads to emptiness, but provision with God leads to peace. God doesn't want to be your backup plan, he wants to be your foundation. Put him first, and watch everything else realign. Final words. Jesus didn't teach money principles to make us rich. He taught them to make us wise, free, and spiritually focused. If you apply these 9 lessons, you'll notice more peace, better decisions, stronger discipline, healthier priorities, a deeper relationship with God. Money is temporary, obedience is eternal.